seem like everything's great. And with me, I feel like the Israelites in the desert, when they were wandering around, and God would do these amazing miracles, and they would be sold out believers for Christ, and then it seemed like it didn't take very much longer, and all of a sudden they were worshiping, golden calves, and that it's kind of seemed like how I am, just really maybe lukewarm and constantly going back and forth, and I don't want to live that way. I mean, I've decided that in the past, and now I want to tell everybody that, make a declaration through baptism that is not how I want to live, and I want to be a sold-out believer to Christ. Now, the other reason that I wanted to get baptized, and kind of what I'm more excited about, I've been actually reading a comic book of the Bible. My brother makes fun of me. He's like, "What are you, a comic book?" But it's kind of cool. And I was reading in here about when Jesus got baptized by John the Baptist, and I've heard that story many times, and I've seen my dad baptize many, many people, but one thing that I've heard over and over is, well, baptism doesn't save you. It's not what's going to get you to heaven. And it kind of, for me, it just made it seem like, well, then it must not be that big of a deal. And so I would just, it's something nice that Christians do, and one day it's something that I want to do, and I want to, just kind of do that tradition, and it'd be a nice thing to do. But when I read this, and just the way it says it in here, when Jesus comes down and he says, "John, will you baptize me?" And John says something like, "It would be more appropriate if you would baptize me. You are indeed a righteous man." And then he says, "John, I must obey all the laws of God. I will do as my Father has commanded his people." And in the Bible, it says, I'll just read it in the actual Bible here too, if I can find it. 13%. It says, John tried to prevent him, saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and are you coming? I need to be baptized by you, and are you coming to me?" And Jesus answered, "Permit it to be so, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." So he had to get baptized to fulfill all righteousness. I mean, he was doing it in obedience to the Father. And that's what I want to do. I want to obey what God's commanded me. And then after I read that, the next Sunday in Sunday school, we were reading in 1 Peter, and the baptism came up in there, and we were talking about it. And so I asked if not being baptized was a sin. And because that's what it seemed like, is we need to be obedient to Christ, and by not being baptized, we're not being obedient. So I asked them, and they said, well, if you didn't know that you need to be baptized, maybe it's not a sin. But if you know you need to be baptized, but you're just scared to be baptized, or you just don't want to get up in front of people, then yes, it probably is sin. And God just really, really convicted me, and just that Jesus obeyed the Father, and he died on the cross for me, and I need to follow that example and obey. And when I was younger, there was a song that it was on a tape, and it was, "Yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way. Yes, Lord, yes, I will trust you and obey. And when your Spirit speaks to me, with my full heart I'll agree, and my answer will be yes, Lord, yes." And I guess that is the way I want to live my life. And I just want to say yes to everything that the Lord has for me to do, and I want to have a soft heart and hear his voice, and just live my life as a sold-out believer, and I need all your help to do it. And so I can say that just like the Ethiopian eunuch, when Philip was telling him about being baptized, I read that in here too. He said, "What prevents me from being baptized right now?"